Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, good morning, Las Vegas. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us on a Tuesday, broadcasting live from the kitchen of yours truly. Hope everyone out there is doing okay. Also broadcasting live on YouTube, the Vegas Take YouTube page, and of course right here on KDWN, the FM and the AM side of the dial. We got a lot to get to, a lot to go over. We had Mayor Carolyn Goodman on the show yesterday. We're going to kind of take a few bits and pieces from that interview. She was a little testy, which is okay. We'll take a few pieces from that interview and go over those with you if you missed that interview yesterday. Also, what is it like to be in the White House press room during one of these coronavirus press conferences? And when we think about it, it's kind of like being in the Super Bowl every day to the extent of how many people are watching, right? It's almost, for me, if I walked into that room, it would be surreal, right? Because you have so many eyes on the president and so many people watching that press conference live. Well, we're going to have one of those White House correspondents join us live coming up in hour number 2. So certainly looking forward to that. You know, we remember, some of us do, maybe I was extremely young, but the AIDS pandemic that took place in the 80s. Well, one of those people that suffered through that is making some comparisons to the HIV outbreak to this pandemic, similarities in a negative way, the way the government is not handling it. His name is Tracy Skinner. He'll be joining us. He has the virus, HIV, and he's saying this is bringing him back to those days. So we'll talk to him. And then at the bottom of the hour, in hour number 3, the NFL draft coming up, of course, on Thursday. Talk a little Raiders football with Ken Thompson from SportsX Radio. A big story that came out last night, to my liking, and hopefully to everybody's liking, was that the U.S. intelligence suggesting that North Korea's evil, murderous dictator, Kim Jong-un, was in grave danger after undergoing a surgery. This is according to a U.S. official with direct knowledge. Then a second source familiar with the intelligence telling CNN that the U.S. has been closely monitoring reports on Kim's health. Some eyebrows were raised when Kim Jong-un missed his grandfather's birthday, which was on April 15th. That raised a little speculation about his health. And then another U.S. official told CNN that the concerns about Kim's health are credible, but the severity is hard to assess. Here's what we do know about Kim Jong-un. He's not the poster child for health. He's a short, pudgy little guy who is a binge smoker, who obviously does not eat healthy, doesn't get exercise, smokes all the time. So, you know, I just put up on social media, I said, dear Kim Jong-un.
But he does look 14 years old.
I said, Kim Jong-un, die, sincerely the world. I put that up on social media. If anybody out there is pulling for this guy to survive, you're an idiot. You might be one of the same people that were protesting throughout the country in regards to this coronavirus. But I'll tell you one thing, and I'll say this for sure. Yes, I hope he does die. I don't say that about many people. I hope Kim Jong-un suffers, and I hope he dies. And if and when he does, and I hope it's sooner than later, the president better not say anything nice about him, because he's said a lot of nice things about Kim Jong-un in the past. Make no mistake about it. This is an evil, murderous dictator, a son of a bitch that has killed a bunch of innocent people, including Americans. And I hope, I really hope, you want to talk about praying to God? I pray to God that this guy is no longer alive in the next couple days. It'll be a great thing, not just for this country or for their country. It'll be a great thing for the world if Kim Jong-un is dead.
I'm pretty certain that there aren't, at least as far as Americans that are familiar with politics, that there aren't 200 Americans in the entire United States who want Kim Jong-un to live through this. Now, associating those type of people who want Kim Jong-un to live with this or from this to those that were protesting the coronavirus, to me, is a total over-the-top association, Brian.
Okay. Well, I disagree.
That being said, if Donald Trump doesn't go up on stage and call him a murder, an evil, murderous dictator,
he won't.
Well, if he doesn't do that, you can have an issue with it.
Yes.
If he doesn't use those exact 3 words, you're going to have an issue with it.
I would rather him not say anything than say something about. Here's why. Because Kim Jong-un and him, Donald Trump is. We don't have to go through everything he said about Kim Jong, but the love letters, how much respect he has from Kim Jong-un. He thinks he's a great guy.
Well, he was trying to avoid nuclear war, Brian.
Okay. Well,
he was. And when Kim Jong-un is dead,
did Barack Obama say those things about Kim Jong-un?
There will be no replacement for Kim Jong-un that is going to be threatening the United States with nuclear war.
George W. Bush, Bill Clinton.
So I don't think that Donald Trump will say anything nice about him at all when he dies.
Okay, we'll see about that.
I think he'll talk about it. I don't think he'll call him a good guy by any stretch.
Okay, he said that before.
I think he'll say that North Korea's leader is dead, but I don't think he's going to actually be positive.
Going to what you said about
I find that very hard to believe.
This possible war. Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, George W. Bush, George Bush Sr., all these presidents have never said any really kind words about Kim Jong-un. And there were no nuclear wars, as far as I can remember, with North Korea. So I don't think it's necessary to kiss Kim Jong-un's ass the way Donald Trump has done over the last 3.5 years to pretend like, well, we're just doing this because there's no nuclear war. There is no nuclear war coming. And the comments that Trump has said about Kim Jong-un over the course of the last 3.5 years are despicable. He has been nicer to Kim Jong-un than some of the governors in some of the states here during this coronavirus, and that is completely unacceptable. I don't even want to talk about that because it gets me really angry, but the bottom line is it'll be a good day for America, and it'll be a good day for the country if we find out that Kim Jong-un is dead, and period. End of story. So let's hope that happens as a country and as a world, because this man is a horrible human being. Here's what we're going to do.
The worst human being, Brian. This guy has, it's called a pleasure squad. It is a group, basically a harem of a couple hundred women, and all these women do from the age that they're moved into this pleasure squad is they pleasure, and they make sure that his family and his top leading military generals are satisfied sexually. I mean, this guy is an absolute scumbag. He's probably one of the worst.
Wait, what is that called again?
People it's called the pleasure squad.
I got about 4 or 5.
See, I like the pleasure squad. I think that's a good idea.
You think that's a good idea?
I think like there's worse things that he's done.
The pleasure squad.
I mean that's Stein. That's all these women do. I mean, that's their entire existence.
Well, Kim Jong-un is certainly a great-looking guy, so I'm sure the women are very honored to do that. But, again, it goes back to what I said a few minutes ago. The world will be a better place if Kim Jong-un is dead. Imagine those women that are forced to have sex with Kim Jong-un, that short, pudgy little piece of garbage.
Again, not just him, all of his top, his top military generals.
Yes, no,
and then if you commit any type of crime whatsoever, you get hard labor. You saw what happened to Otto Warmbier.
Well, unfortunately, we didn't see exactly how he died,
for
but
for
certainly
stealing a poster.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, for taking a poster off a wall.
Yeah, completely ridiculous. That was a murder. Kim Jong-un lied. Donald Trump said he sided with Kim Jong-un. Just another example of Donald Trump acting like a complete buffoon and taking the side of an evil, murderous dictator. Absolutely disgusting. But again, we hope that Kim Jong-un does die. I hope he dies today. I hope he suffers. And I hope every single one of those women that he made suffer are allowed to punch him in the face or throw a rock at his body as he's about to die. That's what I hope happens. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, as I mentioned, we had Mayor Carolyn Goodman on the show yesterday. And just in case you missed it, we're going to play a few excerpts from that interview yesterday. We're going to talk about it, and we're also going to take some phone calls on the other side of the break at 702-257-5396. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. We will be back in 60 seconds.
Please listen. This is important. Anyone can be affected by the prescription opioid crisis. If you think you've been hurt by Purdue or its prescription opioids like OxyContin, you may be entitled to compensation as part of Purdue's bankruptcy, but you have to file a claim. Claims may include overdose, death, substance use disorder, lost wages, and neonatal abstinence syndrome. A confidential claim can be filed by individuals, a legal guardian, by survivors or relatives of people who have died or are disabled. The deadline to file a claim is June 30th, 2020, or you will lose your right to file a claim. For more information, visit PurduePharmaClaims.com, or you can call toll-free 1-844-217-0912. That's 1-844-217-0912. Paid for by Prime Clerk, LLC.
1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON, the talk of Las Vegas. Sean Hannity, weekdays noon to 3 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. We'll take some phone calls here in just a few minutes. If you missed our show yesterday, we had Mayor Carolyn Goodman on the show. And as you know, Mayor Goodman is, I'm not going to say she's been at odds, but she certainly has disagreed with Governor Sisolak when it comes to a lot of different things. And listen, I wouldn't want to be in her shoes. I wouldn't want to be in Governor Sisolak's shoes either. They're very difficult positions that they're in. And there's a lot of stress involved. You think you're stressed out in quarantine? How do you think you feel if you're the mayor of Las Vegas? So I understand that she's got a lot on her plate. I'm sure there's a lot of casino owners and a lot of business owners that are putting a lot of pressure on her. I totally understand that. That said, she was in a little bit of a testy mood yesterday. We were very respectful to her, as I always have been respectful to her and her husband, who I respect very much. So one of the first questions I asked her, in fact, I think it was the first question, I asked her why she used the term insanity to describe this shutdown, and here's what she had to say.
Having been here all these years and watched us grow from a town of 75,000 to 2.3 million and become a world-recognized entertainment, sports, convention place that was not broken. The reason our hotels and everything in Southern Nevada in our industry of hospitality has been so successful and continuing to be so is because our rooms are clean, our kitchens are clean, we inspect them, there are laws. We're about making sure we are always on top of everything. And when I said it was insane, number one, it was because it wasn't broken.
All right, so here was my thoughts on that, and of course I wanted to be respectful to the mayor, and we were. A clean hotel room and a clean casino is completely academic and means nothing when it comes to this virus. You could get the virus in the cleanest room on the planet. So I don't understand why she brought that up. To me, it doesn't make any sense. What she didn't do is she didn't really talk about the virus, and she didn't talk about how dangerous it was, and she didn't talk about how susceptible people are. If you open up the cleanest casino tomorrow with the cleanest rooms in the world, and you have a few people that are asymptomatic and they're close in proximity to one another, other people can get the virus. That's just a fact. Now, I didn't want to interrupt her because it was, number one, it was very difficult to interrupt her anyway. She's very long-winded, which is fine. But again, how clean the Strip is or how clean the hotels are, completely academic to this conversation. So the next question I asked her was, about the experts, because as you know, you can disagree with Fauci, Birx, and all these doctors and scientists, but I asked her about that because it's very relevant. Who knows more about this virus? People that own casinos, people that are economists, or the actual doctors that are trying to fight this virus? So I asked her that question, and I asked her what does she think about the experts' advice, and here's what she had to say about that. Who loses their life.
Excuse me. Sorry. Not going there. I have doctors telling me differently. I have doctors, and I'm not going to hang them out there. I have people out there saying with proper, as you raise your children, if you have children, if you raise your children, you put them in school, and in kindergarten they come home with every germ, and it goes right through your whole family, and you're all down, usually with the flu or some derivative thereof. You do not stop living, and you do not take a paintbrush and paint everything awful.
Okay, first of all, when she says, excuse me, not going there, well, what is that supposed to mean? You are the one who has criticized Governor Sisolak. You are the one that called it insanity. And when someone asked you what I believe to be a very logical and fair question, what would you say about the experts, those in Trump's administration and scientists and doctors around the world, and what they are saying? I think it is a very fair question to ask her. If you don't want to criticize this shutdown, you don't want to call it insanity, then okay, then don't answer the question. But if you're going to criticize it, to say excuse me and be offended by this question, to me, that's just not fair. That shows a lack of leadership. Now, we talked about Dr. Fauci. We talked about how she listens to Dr. Fauci, and I think it was very important to bring up Dr. Fauci in this whole thing. But then she kind of went off in a little bit of a tangent. Have a listen to this.
I went to the very top that everybody's listening to. Whether he's good, bad, or indifferent, that's not my call. He's the man, and he's telling us it could be through December. You keep us in quarantine or restrictions and don't let the private sector open up and put our people back to work. The results are insanity of what it's going to do to this place. Total insanity.
So here's my response to that. My response to that is this.
She's right.
My response to that is this. If they open up too early and the virus continues to spread and it gets worse, and more people die than they would have if you kept it closed. That is my definition of total insanity. Now, she doesn't know that. Now, she says she listens to Dr. Fauci, but a part of her obviously doesn't listen to Dr. Fauci, because she quoted Fauci as saying this thing could go into December. And she basically is calling him insane. That's basically what she is doing. That is exactly what she is doing. She listens to Dr. Fauci. Fauci has been on the record as saying this thing could go in until December, and she thinks it's insanity to close everything down until then. Well, no, it would be insanity if we opened up things too early, and a lot of people got sick and a lot of people died. Now, I gave her chance to talk, and we didn't have a ton of time with her, but she's very long-winded, and I didn't want to interrupt her, but that would be my response to her. But then she went in. This is the weird thing about this interview. I thought this was really weird, and if you're just joining us, we had Mayor Carolyn Goodman, who was on our show yesterday. She went into the homeless population. Now, as you know, the homeless issue has been not just a worldwide issue, but a big issue here in this country. There's no question.
Not just in this country, especially in Las Vegas, Brian. Especially in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
No, you said this country.
It's been a big issue in the world, in this country, and in Las Vegas. Yeah, absolutely. But she decided to bring up children and the homeless during this pandemic, and she decided to talk about that being an issue. I have no doubt that, of course it's an issue. But because we have a homeless problem, all of a sudden we're going to put everybody else at risk? That doesn't make any sense to me. So this is Mayor Carolyn Goodman's thoughts on the homeless population during this pandemic.
What about these children now that won't have a roof over their heads and they're quarantined to home? What home? What home are you going to put more than 15,000 kids in? And who's going to feed them, pray tell? Their parents are out of work and desperate and calling this office, and we have no power to change anything.
Well, I mean, let's keep in mind that it was just several months ago that the mayor put an ordinance in place that if the homeless people are sleeping on the streets downtown, they could be fined up to $1,000 and spend up to 6 months in jail. That was her response, and that was her answer. She had a chance to do something about it then, and now all of a sudden during this pandemic, all of a sudden she has all this concern about homeless people. I'm sorry, Mayor, but you have to be consistent with your opinions.
She is, Brian.
Not at all.
Yeah, she is. She is saying that the homeless population is going to increase. It's not going to stay the same because you have 400,000 Nevadans, probably 300,000 Las Vegans that are out of work. Here's something else, Brian. Do you know how that city expenses are paid for? I'm talking fire department, police officers.
Taxpayer dollars.
From where?
What do you mean? From us?
Well, no, we
taxpayer
don't.
dollars.
No, we don't have an income tax here, Brian.
I mean, taxpayers are the ones that pay for.
No, listen, we don't have an income tax.
I understand that.
Okay. We don't have a food tax on groceries. No one is going anywhere but the grocery store right now.
Okay.
Right now, there's no tax revenue being brought in the entire city of Las Vegas. The sales tax that pays for all these things comes from the businesses that are open, Brian. So if this doesn't stay open for 6 months, and, okay, let's say 15 to 20 people die or 100 people die, you're going to see so much worse economic carnage than you would have ever thought.
Well,
because you're going to – they laid off 100 police officers 2 days ago? Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
They'll keep laying off more. Did you know they also released 110 prisoners?
We can give all the numbers, in my opinion. It's not going to change.
Well, how
it's not going to change.
You're talking about lives. That's a number. So why can't I bring up numbers?
Here's why I think you're wrong.
I'm not, Brian. I'm telling you,
Okay,
I am
can
not.
I just finish?
I am not wrong here, man.
Okay, that's your opinion. But can I tell you why I think you're wrong? I'll tell you why.
Of course you can.
Okay, here's why. You can bring up all these numbers if you want to, but the bottom line is, this stuff can't reopen until we're safe. And you could be concerned about unemployment numbers and suicide and drug addiction. You could be concerned about police officers getting laid off. You could be concerned about where the money's coming from. Fine.
Okay.
But the bottom line is this.
How about this?
If I could just finish. The bottom line is this.
Who's paying the doctors?
If I could just finish my thought. The bottom line is this. Okay? It's very simple. I don't know why it's hard for you to understand what I'm saying. This state and this city cannot and will not reopen until it is deemed safe, regardless of the financial situation. I don't understand why that's so hard for you to understand. You can throw any number at me you want to.
I will. And I'm saying the city, in my opinion, based on what I've seen from positive testing results, which are less than 10%, from the total caseload, which is 4,000. You saw the study that happened in California yesterday, right? The USC researchers.
California's not ready to reopen.
No. Do you know what happened there in the study?
What about the study?
So L.A. County, right? There's 13,700 cases right now in L.A. County and 617 deaths. That's a 4.6% mortality rate. They did an antibody study, USC researchers did, And they came up with the number on the first round of study, based on the first round of study, that 4.1% of the population of 8 million actually has the virus. If that's the case, and there were actually 330,000 that have the virus or have antibodies to the virus, and there's only 617 deaths, do you understand what that mortality rate would actually translate to?
Okay, the answer
is
we don't
less.
know that.
No, an antibody test.
Everybody has not been tested.
An antibody test. Brian, if they do antibody tests based on population density, why would the virus be more widespread in rural areas? It wouldn't be.
Okay, so here's my response to that question.
You have to factor. I believe that the virus was in Las Vegas a long time ago, just like the virus was in California.
Here's my response.
You
asked me a question. Here's my response. The problem is you use these words like if and I believe. And with all due respect, JD, I'm not going to listen to somebody with no medical experience say if and I believe over scientists and doctors. And what I am saying again, and I keep going around in circles, you could give me every stat you want. I'm not going to listen to a politician or somebody like you say if and I believe over the medical experts that are going to deem whether it's safe for us to be out there. Period.
Again, these medical experts have not dealt with this case before.
And you have no medical experience at all. I'm going to listen to them and you.
I'm saying the Spanish flu was the last thing.
This is not the Spanish flu.
Anything like this in 1918?
It's not the Spanish flu. Stop comparing it to the Spanish flu.
The Spanish flu was way worse than this, Brian. The mortality rate was almost 30 times as high if these antibody studies are correct.
All right.
And if that's the case,
there's another which you don't know.
No one does. The data isn't there for anything.
So stop speculating on when we reopen everything then if you don't know.
What I'm saying is the data isn't even there to shut down. It's not there to shut down. If the mortality rate is 0.15 or 0.30, we have no business shutting down, Brian, especially in a city like Las Vegas, Nevada.
All right, well, I want to play.
Now, are we already shut down? Yes, we are shut down. But we need to open on May 1st. Otherwise, I believe there could be some potentially catastrophic consequences for the city of Las Vegas.
Okay, I'll respond to that.
I'm not talking about the Strip. I'm talking about businesses in general. Non-essential businesses in general need to open because the city needs the sales tax revenue because it's not getting it from anywhere else. Because guess what? We don't have an income tax in Nevada.
Again,
that's one of the reasons why people like to live here.
We have a sales tax in Nevada, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
Not on food.
We have a sales tax in Nevada. And the second thing I want to say
Brian, is what I'm saying is
you got to let me respond to everything you just said.
The money is being spent in the grocery stores.
All right, you got to let me respond.
And they are exempt from that tax.
All right, so all the ifs that you said.
There's no if about that.
Yeah,
Brian.
You've said if a bunch of times and you believe a bunch of times. And it goes back to everything that I said. And we're up against a break here in a few minutes. But the bottom line here is this. You could give me all the antibody stories and statistics you want. You could give me all the hypotheticals you want, but my opinion is not going to change, and I'll say it one more time. I'm going to listen to the medical experts and the scientists because I would rather have something catastrophic happen to the economy than something catastrophic happen. You can laugh all you want to if you let me finish my statement.
That is the craziest thing I have literally ever heard in my entire life.
It's not a surprise you didn't let me finish my statement, and you're not listening because of your ADD. What I said was I'd rather have something catastrophic happen to the economy than something catastrophic happen to innocent American lives. Now, we got to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation on the other side. Give us a buzz. Your thoughts on our interview with the mayor, 702-257-5396. Again, that number, 257-5396. Take a break. We'll be back right after this. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Thanks for joining us on a Tuesday. The number to call, 702-257-5396. We're playing some excerpts from the interview we did with the mayor of Las Vegas, Carolyn Goodman. And my opinion on this virus hasn't changed since day one. It's extremely serious. We need to take it seriously. And, yes, all these protesters across the country that have decided to play with your life, because that's what they did. And don't tell me it wasn't political. Many of these protesters had Trump signs. Some of them had Nazi signs, Confederate flags. Most of them not practicing social distancing. Here's how stupid some of these people are. They're so dumb, they're protesting to open things up. Some of them are wearing masks, so that's the irony of that. And they're protesting while some of these idiots are carrying these Trump signs, they're protesting Donald Trump and his administration's own guidelines of social distancing. These people are dumb as a doornail.
Or they can not like the fact that they're not going to work, but still support Donald Trump. And what's the problem with wearing masks? When all this social distancing gets laxed, like right now, you have Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama. In all these states, a lot of these people are going to be wearing masks, Brian. So what's wrong with wearing a mask and protesting?
What's wrong with wearing a mask and protesting?
Yes.
Okay, that's an easy one for me to answer. I'll tell you what's wrong with it. There's something that the president and his administration put in place, and all these governors put in place, even the Republican ones. It's called social distancing. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Of course
what
I have,
that
Ryan.
means. Okay, well, I'm not sure if you have, because I'm surprised at the question you just asked me. You're supposed to be 6 feet apart from one another. In many of these cities, in fact, all of them, not everybody is practicing social distancing. Some of these people, it is fair to say, could have the virus. Some of these people could be asymptomatic. The president and his administration have put these guidelines in place for a reason, not because they want to give you a hard time. It is for the safety and the protection of the good people in this country. And these dumbasses with half a brain that are going to these protests, that are, by the way, protesting against Trump's own administration and those guidelines, are selfish, and to me, it's involuntary manslaughter, because there is a chance that you could be spreading the virus. There's a chance you can get it, and there's a chance others could get it. And some of these idiots are being interviewed, and some of these people are answering the question by saying, well, it's my body. I have the right to do what I want. These people are so dumb, they don't understand that if they get it, they can pass it on to other people. It doesn't just affect them. So for these idiots that are worried about getting their haircuts, for these idiots that are complaining about, I want to go back to work. Everybody wants to go back to work. You think you're alone? But we're not all going downtown or going and protesting and putting other people at risk. That is the whole point of it. The number to call, 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Again, if you want to be a part of the conversation, give us a buzz, 702-257-5396. 5396. Let's start off with Chris. Chris, you are first up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Chris?
Hey, guys. First of all, JD, thank you for not being a sheeple, and forward thinking is really what we need here in this situation. There's a new report today that says, listen to the experts, right, Brian? Listen to the experts. But this is
how am I a sheep? What have I said that you disagree with?
The stay-at-home order likely exacerbated the situation, because it sent people home that are asymptomatic with people that were compromised and locked them in a dwelling. So you have to be open-minded to the solution.
All right, hold on a second.
And that's a good point.
If I can respond, I would assume you're calling me a sheep, so my specific question to you is this. What have I said specifically that you disagree with? Are you okay with thousands of people protesting, not practicing social distance? Is that why I'm a sheep? Why am I a sheep, sir? What have I said in the first 30 minutes of this show that would make me a sheep?
No, you're a good man, but you're listening to the experts, and I was trying to make.
So you don't think I should listen to the experts?
You have to be open-minded. Well, because they sent us home to live with our grandparents and our compromised friends.
So what are you saying, that we should open everything up?
Some of them are dead.
Sir, with all due respect, where am I wrong? What would make me a sheep? I don't need you to compliment me on being a good man. I appreciate that, because I think I am. But what have I said in this show that you specifically disagree with that would make me a sheep? All I've said, for the most part, is, number one, I want Kim Jong-un dead. That was the first 15 minutes of the show, and I think most people would agree with me on that.
I
and then the last
vehemently agreed
And
with.
then the last 15 minutes of the show, I've called those people idiots, and I will continue to do so, those who are not practicing social distancing and those who are putting all of our lives at risk. So what would make me a sheep in the first 30 minutes of this show?
By the way, give those protesters a break, man. Those are people that are
No, I'm not going to give them a break. They're idiots. We're all suffering. No, I'm not going to give them a break.
They are unemployed.
I don't care.
They don't have jobs.
Listen, there's a lot
what's going to happen with
If I
rent?
can respond to the caller.
No, you're calling them idiots for.
Yes, they are. Here's why.
For wanting to work for a virus that you don't even.
Excuse me.
You have no idea how deadly this is.
Excuse
All you're
me.
doing is listening to the.
I don't know how deadly this is.
You have no idea. No,
I don't.
None.
So I don't
Zero.
know. So I don't know how deadly this is.
You
yet.
don't.
You don't. You're being ridiculous.
You really don't.
You know what?
You know why?
You have been
You know why? Nobody does.
No.
Nobody does.
You have been
Brian.
downplaying this virus.
I have
since day
not
one. What an
downplayed.
idiotic
I
thing
have
of you
not
to say to me.
downplayed anything. You have no idea
excuse me.
what the actual mortality rate is, Brian. You do not.
Let me know when you're done. I'll put
You
down the
don't.
mic. You have been downplaying this virus since day one. You are totally okay with thousands of people going out there protesting without practicing social distance. All you do is bring up stats about unemployment in the economy, and how dare you look at me on this show and say that I don't know how serious this
You
virus.
don't.
Excuse me, let me finish.
I'll do it.
Let
I'll
me
do it
finish.
150 more times.
Let me finish.
You do
Okay,
not.
Fine. So you want to open?
Nobody does.
Okay, fine.
Anthony Fauci
Right,
doesn't.
right.
Deborah Birx doesn't.
Okay, fine. You're right.
Nobody
You're
does.
right. I don't take it seriously that you open up a Facebook page as the moderator talking about how downplaying this virus. No, don't shake your head. You just looked at me and you said, I don't know how serious this
I
virus is.
did not open up any Facebook
Okay,
page.
but whatever.
Fine.
It's downplaying the virus and saying that everybody should be out there. Yet you're looking at me and accusing me of not taking this virus seriously. How dare you? That is absurd.
I never said that once. I said you don't.
You just said that to me.
No, I didn't. I said you don't know how deadly it is.
And you know what?
I never once said you're not taking it seriously.
Neither do you, and that's why. Neither do you, and that's why I want us to be safe.
Well,
and that's why. Excuse me. And that's why I want people to practice social distancing.
I got you,
because
Brian.
I care about the. I don't think you do.
I do.
I don't think you do.
I care about minimizing lives and minimizing economical damage because economical damage and joblessness leads to a loss of life.
Well,
Brian.
I find it interesting.
Do you
Just,
know
like,
that-
just like the president, you don't bring up the lives lost. You never do on this show. I do every single day.
42,500
Well, thank
right
you
now.
for bringing it up after I told you to.
5,000 of which took
Saying
place.
I don't take this seriously is
I never said that. I said you don't know how deadly it is, Brian.
You know what? I do
I
know how deadly
no,
it
you
is
don't.
because it's hit
No,
close to home to me. That's how.
Again,
I know people
you don't-
personally that have died from this
I
virus.
understand
I
that.
know families that are suffering. Do you?
I get that.
Do you?
Brian.
No,
I
you
get that.
don't, because you wouldn't have said that.
That doesn't mean that you know how deadly it is.
All right, well, that's absurd.
You don't.
You're the one that
you
thinks we
don't,
should reopen
You don't
tomorrow.
know the actual mortality
You're telling
rate.
me
You have no idea.
You're telling me I don't know how deadly it is. Yet you're the guy that wants to reopen everything tomorrow, and you do the right-wing talking points. Because I think you talk to a couple people that feed those to you every
Absolutely
day.
not.
Well, I think you do. 702-257-5396. I'm sorry, I take that personal. I know people in my life that have lost their lives from this virus, and you look at me and you tell me you don't know. I don't know how deadly it is.
Your friend's mother dying does not change the mortality rate of the virus collectively. It doesn't make it any more deadly. Do you understand that?
I don't even want to address that.
Well, it doesn't.
Because I'm just going to get more angry. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Again, that number, 257-5396. Let's go to Sam. Sam, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Sam?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, listen, well, I just want to make a couple comments, man. First of all, I just want to say that the lady that we have for mayor, I think this lady is an idiot. She is in denial. I mean, first of all, the reason why we don't have a lot of contagious people here and we kept it down is because the governor shut the casinos down. That's a big plus. Okay, so now JD, you keep saying that you don't know how deadly this virus is. Well, why don't you just go to New York and help out over there? Don't take your PPE. Go over there and help out. I mean, I keep hearing all these people. They keep saying, well, it's no big deal. It is a big deal. Now, everybody's worried about the economy, my friend. We're all in the same boat.
I'm not saying it's not a big deal.
I'm not in the island. We're all in the same boat. So I'm not working. You are working. You're getting a paycheck. We all worry about the economy. But why am I going to go out there, expose myself to a virus, bring it to my family, and maybe I make it, maybe I don't? Why would I want to do that? I don't understand that about you, JD. I mean, Ryan is right.
Okay, anyways, so in New York City right now, there's 15,000 deaths collectively and about 290,000 cases. They did these are all studies. They've done studies. They studied 200 pregnant women that had the virus in a hospital in New York, and 80, all of them, pretty much all of them, were asymptomatic. What I'm saying is, there's a lot more cases in New York City than 290,000. It's probably closer to 3 or 4 million, which makes the mortality rate significantly lower than it's at 7.5% right now. And right now, in specific, so what I'm saying, because of the amount of asymptomatic cases out there and mild cases that have not been identified across the country, all that plays into the actual mortality rate. That is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, so we have no idea. So we have no idea what that actual rate is and how truly deadly this is. And if it's only twice as deadly as the flu, under those circumstances, is that worth?
Another hypothetical? Let's go ahead.
Brian, six different studies have said that. Six different studies have said that it probably is around that.
All right, we got to let the caller chime in. Go ahead, caller.
Come on, man.
What's up?
I'm just saying so basically what you're saying is, so let's just have a lot more mortality in order to prove that this thing is really dangerous? Is that what you're saying? It's just dumb.
So, I'm saying I think that we have a lot more infected than we already do. I think that this was spreading through grocery stores for weeks and weeks before the 6 foot
All right, let me chime
the
in here.
6-foot signs were put out there. I think that a lot of this was spreading for a long time.
JD,
and I think it's been in Las Vegas
JD, I get
for
your
months
point.
and months.
I get your point. You just said, I believe, quote, we have more people infected than we already do. So the result and the answer to that for you is let's open everything up May 1st. Do you realize how ridiculous you sound when you say
Brian.
that?
It isn't, Brian, because you've got 400,000 people that are unemployed in the state of Nevada.
Boy, there we go again with the unemployment numbers. We have more people.
Do you understand?
We have more people
Brian,
infected than we thought we did. So let's open up everything on May
do you get
1st
what
because
that
of the
means?
economy. That makes
I
a
mean,
lot of
I mean,
sense,
do you
JD.
get what that
oh no,
means?
I get you totally.
You don't get what
I
that
get you
means,
totally
Brian.
because you've been saying the same thing for the last month.
Where are these doctors getting paid from? Where's the hospitals?
Am I in the twilight zone here?
No, you just don't understand
my co-host
economics
no,
at all.
And you don't understand death. And you don't understand death.
I do understand.
No, you don't.
Death.
You don't understand grief.
But there's a give and take.
No, you don't.
There.
A give and take
yes,
with grief?
There is a give
you are
and take,
ridiculous.
Brian. There is a give and take.
You sound so cold-hearted when you make a statement like that.
I do not sound cold-hearted. We just have different
ideologies.
ideologies.
A give and take with death and grief.
Yes.
Oh, my God. 702. I cannot. 702.
Again, and
Donald, let me give out the number.
Donald Trump has said this. Many people have said this.
Yeah, because he's Mr. Empathy himself. Yeah, that's a good person to look up.
The cure cannot be worse than the virus. And right now, I believe that it is on that trajectory at this point, especially in a place like Las Vegas, Nevada, or in Nevada.
All right, we got to take more calls. But you said it yourself. There are more people infected than we think, and then the result of that is
significantly more.
Right, significantly more. So the answer to that is let's just open on May 1st. That makes complete sense. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Alex. Alex, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, good morning. First thing I'd like to say is thank you, JD, for being a respectful person to the callers. I've never heard you call anybody liars or
I never do.
Buffoons or nothing, so I really appreciate it because you just had a discussion with a gentleman that contradicted whatever you said, but you never insulted him, so thank you very much. JD, I'd like to know, why is it that the people that keep saying that we should open up the city, they never give us a number? Have you ever noticed that? They always say, well, we can't open up because we don't know how many more dead people we're going to have. They have never given us a number as to what that number would be acceptable and say, okay, this is how many cases or how many fatalities we're just going to have.
The number, the issue is, Alex, the number is zero. That's why.
Exactly.
The number.
What are you talking about?
The number is zero.
The number is zero.
The thought process is if there is one death from this, that is too many. That is the general thought process.
First of all, Alex,
but it does not take into account everything that's going on. One thing that I'm surprised that we haven't played that Mayor Goodman said, and it was very important. She said that, okay, we shut down the economy, but we had and Governor Steve Sisolak had absolutely no plan in place to reopen it.
All right, my turn.
I'm really surprised. Really surprised that we did not factor that in for our audience.
Okay, my turn now, Alex. My turn.
Go ahead.
First of all, when people say ignorant, stupid things on this show, it's one thing to disagree with somebody, but when somebody says something ignorant or says something stupid, I'm going to call them out for it. That's number one. Number two, the reason why nobody can put an exact number on how many people are going to die in the future, because we don't know. It's pure speculation. What do you think? Do you think Dr. Fauci or Sisolak, for example, is going to get up there in a press conference and say, you know what, I think 586 people are going to die next month. He couldn't say that because excuse me, let me finish. He couldn't say that because he doesn't know. Alex, get that through your thick head.
I'll tell you this: Donald Trump going on TV and saying that 2.2 million people could have died if we did nothing, based on the study. And this is me going against Donald Trump, based on the studies that were done in Colorado and Massachusetts and New York and California and Germany. That number is not even remotely close to true. Not even that number will never in a million years take place if those studies are even moderately accurate, Brian. So I'm saying Donald Trump using that 2.2 million number. I said initially what he's going to do is he's going to overpromise or he's going to underpromise and overdeliver, which he did. But he basically put that bar way too high. There's if these antibodies test or study test numbers are kind of accurate, which I believe they probably are, considering the fact that they're taking in places with high population density, which is where the virus is going to be spread the most. But if these studies are accurate, then those, because you can't understand, that's fine.
No, I understand perfectly. You're the one who doesn't understand.
That number
You're killing me.
is unbelievably overblown.
Okay, well, speaking of
So,
numbers.
so Donald Trump actually created some fear by doing that, in my opinion.
I want to get to more phone calls. You're killing me because you just said 5 minutes ago that you said it yourself. There are many more people infected than we think. And then your response to that or your opinion based on that is let's open everything up May 1st. I think that's all that needs to be said, JD. Let's get back to the phone calls.
Because the mortality rate is a lot less than the expectation right now.
I get it. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Dylan. Dylan, you're next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Dylan?
Dylan, go ahead. You're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on, man?
Good morning. Hey, with all my time on my hands, we stumbled across the drive-through with the little Q-tip thing. So my wife and I went through there, and, we got a phone call, and we tested positive. And I thought, wow, I have allergies this year. So, I had some itches and tickles, and I'm like, and I'm not being a smart aleck or anything, Brian, and JD, but it nothing affected us whatsoever other than I thought I had allergies. Kind of like Tom Hanks and his wife, they were on their merry way. But I don't. There's a better way to handle this. We got to protect the old people and keep them in and out of the casinos, and let the nation go back to work. There's going to be.
All right, so Dylan, let me respond. If I can just respond to that, Dylan, I read a story yesterday of a 5-year-old girl. A 5-year-old girl that died of the coronavirus. I've learned stories of many people in their 30s. A bus driver with no underlying health conditions, 42 years old in Chicago, that died. So while you're right, the majority. Hold on. Yes, the majority of people that are susceptible to this virus are those that have bad immune systems or elderly. But there are also younger people, like a 5-year-old girl who just died of the virus. So you can't make broad, blatant statements like that when it does affect everybody differently. That's the problem with this virus.
Let me say one more thing, okay? I understand your facts. But right now, I'm about to go into this Albertsons packed full of 5-year-olds and 10-year-old girls. And like sardines, we're shopping here with some people have masks on.
That's a good point, and let me respond to that. That's a good point, sir, that's a good point, and I've talked about that, and let me respond to that if I may, because you bring up a good point. First of all, as we all know, whether you're in a supermarket or a gas station, we're all supposed to be practicing social distancing. There's no question about that. There are some supermarkets, and I don't agree with this, by the way, all of them should be doing this. There are some stores and supermarkets that are only allowing a certain number of people in there at a time, but here is my point. If there are some dopes that are not practicing social distancing, whether it's in a supermarket or some of these idiots that are protesting, so because we have some morons in society, does that mean we should reopen everything because there are select supermarkets that people are not practicing? Of course not. The answer is no. We need to call those people out. I agree with you. Right. It's wrong. Right. It puts our health at risk. I could not agree with you more. But that doesn't mean we should just reopen everything and not practice social distancing, right, sir?
Right. Brian, 10 more seconds. I was at the bank drive-thru just a moment ago before Albertsons. There's a lady next to me, and she said, oh, go ahead and tell me my balance, in the lane next over. And the lady's balance was $5.
That's horrible.
Was so heartbroken from her being unemployed. I had to give her some money. It broke my heart.
Nice of you.
It's killing the people, man.
Yeah. No, you're right, and you're a good man.
No, it is absolutely killing the people. And the crazy thing is, if I go to the grocery store and I spend $200 on groceries, the city doesn't get $1 of that in tax revenue. They don't get $1, Brian. I'm not paying state income tax. If the casinos aren't open, if non-essential businesses aren't open right now, the city is bringing in no money to pay for the infrastructure.
Let me
to keep it safe.
I know you want to talk about money.
To keep Sin City.
I understand.
I
get it.
No, you don't understand.
I know you want to talk about money, but I want to
the entertainment capital of the world.
I understand. You want to talk about
a controlled chaos, which is what it actually is.
I know you want to talk about the entertainment capital of the world, and you want to again talk about money. But I would like to talk about this guy who just called in. If I can have 10 seconds. Thank you, sir, for being a good American and for doing what you did to that lady that was at the teller. I appreciate you for doing that. You brought up some good points. I'm sure that lady appreciates you, and I wish there were more people out there like you, sir. I think you did a great thing, and you're right. There are a lot of people out there that are suffering. I will say that if you had a job during this coronavirus outbreaks, by now you should be collecting unemployment, and if you're not, something is wrong. Not saying that everything's perfect, not saying that the this whole unemployment benefits services is perfect, but you should be getting some help by now.
Some people, Brian, can actually make more money on unemployment than they could.
I know some people that
are hovering around the minimum wage,
and that's going to be interesting.
They're getting state and federal unemployment of $600 a week. So not saying that that's great, but just as a point of reference.
Let's think about this. What if you stock shelves at a grocery store and you make $14 an hour and you are constantly subjecting yourself to getting this virus and putting your health at risk? And if you just didn't have a job and you went on unemployment, you could make 40% of that. Why would you not, or 40% more than that? Why would you not do that? And that's what we're going to run into eventually.
Well, you're the one who said you want things to open up on May 1st, so why would you be concerned about those people that are stocking things all of a sudden when you say you want everything open on May 1st?
I'm saying if things stay closed for another 2 months or so, you're going to see a lot of these non-essential.
We're not talking about 2 months. We're talking about in a week and a half. You want everything to reopen. It's ridiculous.
I want everything to open today, but it doesn't make
that's absurd.
No, it's not absurd.
The truth finally came out. You want everything open today.
Of course I do.
That's absurd.
With the isolation of the high-risk groups.
So are you washing your hands? Are you practicing social distancing? You want everything to open
Brian,
up right
you're
now.
Literally the most disgusting person, hygiene-wise, on the planet. You're the
hygiene.
You are the last person to ever ask me that question with a straight face.
Hygiene.
Let's be honest about that right now.
Okay, you want to be honest? I'll be honest with you if you want me to be honest.
That being said, I do absolutely wash my hands.
I'll be honest with you
when I go anywhere.
All right. Well, if you want to attack my hygiene and you want to get honest and personal,
you're asking
all right.
about
No.
that.
Let's go with that for a second. First of all, if you're not smart enough to understand that personal hygiene in your own apartment is different than social distancing out there, then I don't even want to continue this conversation with you. I really don't. I'll drop the mic and let's just play a pre-recorded show. That is the most ridiculous thing you just said. My personal hygiene, which by the way I would argue it's just as good if not better than yours, but my personal hygiene.
How many times do you shower a week?
How many times do you leave crap all over the floor every day on the show? How many times do you leave garbage in my apartment after every day when you eat lunch? Have you ever put anything in the trash every single time you've been in this apartment?
No.
Ever?
Again, Brian, how many times do you shower a week?
How many times does your wife have to clean up after you?
How many times do you shower a week?
Answer my question first.
Answer mine.
Answer mine.
It's very, very relevant.
No, you've got pets that crap all over your apartment.
I do have.
Complain to me about it all the time.
I do have 2 pets. I do have
all
a
right,
2-year-old daughter.
Don't talk to me about hygiene.
It's a little different than your one-bedroom situation by yourself.
Cares.
All right, can't we just agree you're both slobs?
Nobody cares about my hygiene, but if you want to get personal with me, how about you do the rest of the show by yourself? See if you can do that. 702. Do you want to? Really? I'm asking you. Do you want to? I'll tell you what. Do the next segment by yourself. Forget about me. I will give you the floor. How about that? You lead the next segment since I have such bad hygiene. 702-257-53.
I think you need a Snickers bar is what I think.
Well, no, he's going after.
I think he needs to. Well, you actually
talking about my hygiene, my personal hygiene.
You went after my intelligence, Brian, and said that I didn't understand.
You've said that to me about 10 times during this show that I don't understand stuff.
I will say that my bottom of my shoes are sticky because of the Kool-Aid that's spilled all over the floor here.
That's true. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Tony. Tony, you're next. Like, people care about our hygiene. Tony, you're next on the Vegas Take.
Hey,
what's going on, Tony?
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
I'm a little heated, but I'll be okay. What's going on, Tony?
Hey, who read that resume for that bonehead JD to get that job? He need to put some sanitizer on his mouth. Why you don't listen and get his facts straight?
JD, you would like to respond to this gentleman?
Yeah, what's going on? What are you saying? Why am I a bonehead, Tony? There we go.
Because you don't listen to Brian.
Okay, all right.
Brian have his facts together. Who read your resume to give you that job? You're lucky you had a job.
What am I supposed to listen to Brian about exactly, Tony?
Well, he give you the facts, you know.
What facts?
Just argue with him. I know you guys put it on a show for the people that are here. But back at the house, you guys go back and laugh and say, ha, 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 look at this fool.
No, I don't actually. I'm usually angry at JD after every show, so you're wrong about that, by the way.
No, yeah, what facts are you talking about? Because honestly, Tony, nobody has any facts right now with this virus.
So let's open up May 1st since nobody has any facts. Boy, that makes complete sense. Actually, JD said it himself. Let's open today. So nobody has any facts, but let's open today. That's JD's words. Let's open today.
Nobody has any facts as far as the actual mortality rate or the death rate.
So let's open today.
Until that is known, we should not be compromising the economy. We should not be putting people out of work. We should not be literally setting Las Vegas back 5 years. We shouldn't be doing, which is what we're doing as we speak.
And what we shouldn't be doing.
And I've said this for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I will continue to say.
And what we shouldn't be doing when we don't have the quote-unquote facts is opening up the economy tomorrow and putting everybody's lives at risk just because you care more about unemployment than death.
It is not just me that cares about unemployment and
Well,
death.
you're right. There's a lot of other people that are wrong, too.
I'm not thinking only about death. I'm thinking about death, unemployment, as you know, the economy. It's the economy itself, the future of the country.
We don't have all the facts,
as well as the morale of people that are literally sitting at home right now, not living our lives.
We don't have all the facts. We don't know. We think
we are not living our lives right now.
If I can just finish, we got to take a break. You think more people have the virus than you think or we think, but yet let's reopen today. No, that makes complete sense. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll take more of your phone calls when we come back. 702-257-5396. Again, that number to call is 257-5396. We'll play a little bit more of our Mayor Goodman interview coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take, 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.